We are live.
Okay.
Good evening, everybody. This is the Monday, February 9th meeting of the Select Board. I am Erin Underhill, the chair. We have Ellen Rosenfeld, the clerk, Craig Schultz, the vice chair, Mike Kaczynski, the town administrator, and Karen Bure DiMarzo, the assistant town administrator. We have a light-ish agenda tonight, so we will jump right in and get started. The first thing we have under announcements is the 2025 town report submittals. Every year we put out a town report. It's actually a nice little book. I had one and I didn't bring it with me. But it's a nice little book about the whole year in review. All the different town departments contribute to it. And we'd like to spruce it up with pictures and different things that have happened over the past year. So if you have any pictures of events in Millis, anything like that, Millis related, we would love to see it. You can send it to us somehow.
Yeah, town report at millisma.gov. Town report at millisma.gov.
Thank you. I know we have some wonderful train station pictures.
Yeah,
so-
we do, but this is because Victoria wants to win the award. Apparently, there's some award, Karen?
Yes, there is an award. Sorry, YouTube is frozen. I'm trying to get a hold of Jim.
Oh,
There is some type of award. It's to the Mass Municipal Association.
Gives out.
And you can win an award for
best
out
town
of the
report.
351 towns, so that would be really cool.
Yep,
Yep.
And she is bound and determined that next year we are going to win. So.
yes.
All right.
Hurry up.
So please do
there it
contribute
goes.
to that if you have anything. Are there any other announcements?
I don't have any.
Yes?
Yes, there is one more packet.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's in my
Sorry.
packet.
No, that's okay. It wasn't listed. So there's an announcement from the Council on Aging, unless you want to come make the announcement. Come on up, Anne Marie. You want it? Here.
Oh, right.
Sorry. I can-
Okay.
You want me to do it?
Good evening, Anne Marie Gagnon, Council on Aging. Let me find the memo. Thank you, Ms. Karen.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you.
I put you on the spot.
Announcement from the Council on Aging, Lansing Millis Legacy Award. It's time to start thinking about a resident to nominate for the annual Lansing Millis Legacy Award. This award, given by the Millis Select Board and the Council on Aging, is the highest recognition of a Millis resident age 60 and over for exemplary volunteer community service to Millis. The award is homage to the spirit of railroad entrepreneur turned town incorporator Lansing Millis. His vigorous advocacy and service to people of all ages grew community support behind his goal to trailblaze an early industrial and agricultural economy in Millis. It is in the spirit of this service that this award was established. The award is presented in May during Older Americans Month at a Select Board meeting, and a plaque listing the awardees, of which there are 3 right now, 2023, 24, and last year's recipients, Chris and Jim McCaffrey for 2025. That award is on permanent display at the Council on Aging. Application can be found on the town website, on the Council on Aging pages, or via paper at the Council on Aging. They're due April 1st. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Okay. That brings us to our municipal moment for this evening, which is our Board of Health to talk about flu clinics. Come on down.
Might find a meeting.
Just a friendly reminder, when you do speak into the microphone, make sure it's close to your face, like
have it
4
really-
inches.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening.
John,
Seemed like it required.
microphone, 4 inches.
Yeah, you got to pull it closer to
Good
you.
evening, everyone.
Whoever's speaking,
No,
but
that's
you got to
not
like
for-
hold
see-
it
see-
close
4
to you when you're
inches,
speaking.
John.
4 inches from your face. Yes.
Good evening.
There
Keep
you
it
go.
coming, keep
Yes.
it coming, there you
All
go.
right.
Thank you.
Better.
We have the nurse Ann here, and she's going to talk about the flu vaccines.
Okay.
Good evening. This year, we had through 3 flu clinics presented with the help of the fire department. During these clinics, we vaccinated 18 senior citizens and 53 other residents of the town, which came up to 71. the flu clinic response was not robust in Millis as it was in other, and that has also been the case in other communities and across the state. Many people are getting their vaccinations through their primary care or at pharmacies. We will continue to make ourselves visible and available. Flu clinics, flu vaccine is available by appointment at the town Board of Health office or in homes for people who are unable to leave their home. We also, as a public health agency, investigate communicable diseases. The State Board of Health informs us of somebody in our community that has something that needs investigation, like TB, foodborne illnesses. A report, investigation is done and a report is done. The Mass Board of Health is very responsive in alerting us to new conditions, new procedures that we should be aware of. Our flu cases for December were quite high. January, we noticed a decrease. And this has also been the same as what was reported across the state. The flu activity, however, is still described as moderate. It has been reported from the state that the disease severity has decreased and hospitalizations have decreased. We only get reports of cases that have been tested either in hospitals or in pharmacies. People who have symptoms and manage themselves at home, we have no idea about. We do try to provide information about if you're sick, stay home, wash your hands, etc. The Board of Health and the Council on Aging are working together to provide a senior health fair in April. More information will be provided as the times go on, where we do have speakers and vendors, and the Council on Aging has some great ideas. It should be a successful program.
Great. So is it, thank you. Is it too late? It's not too late to get a flu shot then?
It isn't too late, but it's better than not getting it at all.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Excellent. And so folks can still go to their pharmacies or reach out to you guys at the Board of Health to make an appointment? Yep, okay,
yes.
fantastic.
And Betty, the vaccine rate for the state is at 35% for Massachusetts, and the vaccine rate for Millis, funding from DPH and MIS, 4,487, and the census population was 9,338 in Millis at the time. So we're up to almost 50% in Millis, which is pretty
That's
good.
great. Mhm. Wonderful. Do we have any questions?
So, John, you were having the flu thing every Tuesday, right? For a few hours, is that over? Wasn't there Tuesdays at the Board of Health? Did I read
Yes.
something?
Yeah.
It was 2 hours on Tuesdays. It was in the newsletters and in the town Facebook page, etc. I had nobody come.
Really?
for that.
Nobody came to any of the Tuesdays? You only had it one Tuesday?
I had it all month in January. 5 Tuesdays, nobody came.
Sounds like my office hours.
Yeah. There is a certain vaccine fatigue that it isn't Millis. It's the whole state or probably
Right.
the whole country. So,
Wow.
I don't know, I like them. Give me all the vaccines.
I know.
will
Well,
take
I
them
was
all.
just saying, I read something. I'm not a big vaccine person. I don't know why. But I read something recently that said vaccines are helpful against dementia.
Yes.
that's, yes, specifically the,
So I'll take them all.
the,
Like now would be good, no?
Yes.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
shingles vaccine, that's the one that has the research,
Oh, interesting.
yeah, so.
I think I'm still too young for that.
Oh, do you?
I got mine a few years ago, so thanks.
Yeah,
I got mine a long time ago.
yeah, my personal feeling is that if you're getting any, get that one. Shingles is a terrible, terrible
Right.
condition.
As soon as I'm
And-
eligible, I will grab that
And the-
one.
What do you have to be, 50?
I think you have to be 50.
Yeah, the sequelae, I mean, you can have pain and for years
Right.
Oh,
after.
wow, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there are treatments, if you get them early enough, you do well, but it's an awful
Oh, good to
condition.
know, okay.
Wow.
And they say they used, I think the old vaccines, people used to get very sick from it, but I had one, it's 2, you have to
Yeah.
have 2.
It's too.
A
When I
month
had it,
apart.
and there was, I
Me
had
neither.
no issues with it, did you?
No.
So
No.
highly recommend.
No.
Good.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
shot hurt. I remember.
It does hurt, yeah. I
Shot
think it's a muscular
stays
shot.
with you for a
It
minute,
pinches,
but-
sure.
No.
So,
Awesome. Any
But-
other
and-
questions?
No.
I was just going to thank Ann too. So Ann McManus has stepped in for us. She is, what is your official title, Ann? You're our substitute nurse? I don't know what her official title
Like our
is.
interim.
interim.
She's our interim nurse.
Yes.
Our former nurse left to stay home and take care of her children, and we were kind of in between as to what we're going to do. We're working to potentially share services with Medway. So in the interim, Ann has been kind enough to step in and run some of this. So thank you for all your
Thank you.
work, Ann.
Thank
on that
you.
as well.
Thanks.
My pleasure.
All right.
Great.
Fantastic. Thank you both.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, next we have appointments. I'm trying to get to that. Hold on. Hold, please. No, I don't have what I thought I had. Okay. So the next item is appointments for the Permanent Building Committee member and the School Building Committee member.
So, Madam Chair.
Yes.
In your packet, as you had mentioned, we do have a vacancy on the Permanent Building Committee, and therefore, it's a corresponding vacancy on the School Building Committee. So that has been advertised. In your packet is an application for that position. You have Sarah Rosenthal, who has extensive experience in architecture. She believes she's a registered and certified architect, who has expressed her interest in the opening. She's, again, her information's in your packet, and it's for the board's consideration this evening.
Thanks. I'll make a motion. I move that the board appoint Sarah Rosenthal as a voting member of the Permanent Building Committee for a term ending June 30th, 2028.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries unanimously.
I move that the board appoint Sarah Rosenthal as a voting member of the School Building Committee through completion of the middle high school building project.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously.
I just want to say I had the, this is liaison updates. I attended the, and Ellen did as well, the school building committee where they had 4 candidates. All candidates were very, very strong. It was a hard choice, but Sarah has a lot of experience with high school buildings, served on building committees, and I believe it was Dedham, if I recall correctly.
Yes.
Yeah, in Dedham, zoning board of appeals in Dedham. She's new to Millis, but not new to town government. And I'm excited to see somebody stepping up, a bunch of new people applying for positions. There's a lot of interest in it, and that, I think, bodes well for the town.
Yeah, it's wonderful to get new people involved. All right, fantastic. Next, moving right along, we have a presentation by the UMass Center for Social and Demographic Research on Aging Millis and Medway Community Needs Assessment.
Again, hi, Caitlin, I'm going to, I'll say some words of introduction. Good evening, is that okay? Yep, she's on, okay. Again, Anne-Marie Gagnon, Council on Aging Director, and I am thrilled to be here this evening to present the findings from our community survey that took place the summer of 2025. We worked with Dr. Caitlin Coyle, who is on Zoom at the moment, for UMass Boston Center for Social and Demographic Research on Aging, their Gerontology Institute, to survey the older adults in our community, 60 and over, about what it's like to live in Millis as they grow older, and get more information about how we can better support them and provide different services and programs. And in addition, it was due to a state earmark, thank you Representative James Rena DeRosa for his work on that, that the funding was also enabled us to also survey the residents, the older residents of Medway, so we can do a comparative study to work towards shared services. So with that, I want to thank all of the residents, all the stakeholders, department heads, Council on Aging staff, everybody who really participated and answered the extensive survey this summer, served on focus groups, and provided a wealth of information that we were able to compile this report with. And my thanks to Caitlin and her team of researchers, and Caitlin will help to go through the data and provide recommendations. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. And thank you all for having me this evening.
Thank you for joining us.
All right, and Anne-Marie already did some acknowledgements, so I won't repeat her. I also just want to acknowledge Michelle Ward and Sierra Somerville, who are also joining us this evening, for their help in making this project as good as it is, frankly. So I'm here this evening to just kind of give you a highlights of the findings of this project, to which Anne-Marie had mentioned. You know, this was a project that was funded through an earmark, but was really motivated out of this idea that we know people want to age in their communities. We know that older adults in our communities are large and continually a growing population of people, and they have shifting, diverse needs. I think one of the things that's important to recognize is when we talk about populations age 60 and older, we're really talking about up to 5 generations of people in that age bracket, and they have very different life experiences and values, etc. So the idea was to take a real comprehensive look at the residents of Millis and Medway to inform the Council on Aging as it moves forward with planning around programming and services, but also to think about ways that it may be able to collaborate with other municipalities, including Medway, and also to inform other town departments. You know, aging doesn't just happen at the senior center; it affects all kinds of municipal services, and so there's the value of this work beyond just the senior center. So, in terms of what we did demographic profile using existing data. We did key informant interviews with mental and behavioral health experts, both locally and across the state, really thinking about that issue as a potential topic area for collaboration, recognizing that it's a challenge that many communities are facing, and to understand sort of what exists already with respect to sort of local solutions. We also did a series of focus groups with residents and community stakeholders in both Millis and Medway. Those were done in person. And we surveyed residents age 60 plus in both communities. We ended up with 1,983 responses for a 29% response rate, which is very good. I always sort of say that 20% is respectable, and anything above that is good, and 29% is what I would consider very good. So people were very willing to share their experiences. We had about half and half in terms of responses from Millis, at 48% of the respondents identified living in Millis and 52% in Medway. This is just the comparison between the age distribution of our survey respondents to the population. So the main takeaway here is that we do have an underrepresentation of people aged 60 to 69 in both communities. So for example, in Millis, 39% of our survey respondents were in this age bracket compared to 49% of the actual population of Millis. So a slight underrepresentation of those younger seniors, but otherwise, and a slight overrepresentation of people in their 70s. So similar trends in both communities. We asked people about how long they've been in town and how important it is for them to stay. The things that I think are interesting here is that in this pie chart, you see that 17% of our survey respondents have been in Millis or Medway for less than 5 years. So these are people 60 plus who've been in the community for less than 5 years, compared with 23% of the sample who've been in one of these communities for 45 years or longer. So actually, kind of a smattering of people who've been here for a relatively short amount of time compared to their whole lives. We asked how important it was for them to stay. You see that in the dark. People who said it was very important for them to stay in the community are in the dark portions of this bar graph. So you can see that across all age groups, 61% say it's very important for them to stay in Millis or Medway as they get older. That there is a bit of an age trend to that in terms of the people in their 60s, about half of them say it's really very important for them to stay. It grows a little bit in the 70-year-olds and sort of peaks in the 80 plus. So as people age, the more important it is for them to be able to stay. And you see that just sort of small shares of people say it's only slightly or not at all important to stay in their community. So as we're thinking about planning, it's important to think about who's going to be here, who's planning, who's really intending to stay. What does that mean for the planning? So I'm going to just kind of talk about some of these results. I think you've seen some of the recommendations already, but this is demographic information, 2010 decennial census, 2020 decennial census, and projections in the year 2030 for both communities. So in Millis, you can see that as of the 2020 census, you had about 27% of your population age 60 or older, and that is expected to grow to being about 32% by 2030. So about a third of your population will be identified as an older adult by the year 2030. So again, speaking to that sort of, it's a significant share of the population, and it's expected to stay that way for a while. In the focus groups and the interviews and other surveys, we asked people what do they value about living in their community as older adults, and we reviewed every single one of those responses. We counted them, we categorized them, and what you see here are the top 3 values that residents reported in their own words, and some of the quotes around in this slide sort of are directly from residents. But across the communities, people, number 1 was really this value of personal connections and familiarity. So this idea, I've been in the community long enough, I know people, it's where we've raised our family, I've come to know this place. And so people really value their personal connection to the community and the sort of familiarity of the community. Similarly, there was this idea of being sort of a small town atmosphere, but having all the things, having access to all these amenities like grocery stores and post offices and things like that, and being able, so ideal location. And then lastly, in the top, rounding up the top 3 is just sort of the idea that the community is active, there are things to do, it's a responsive community, sort of in terms of, public services, et cetera. So really people feeling like it's, these are the things that sort of rose to the top in terms of what people value the most. On the flip side, we asked people about what concerns them as they think about being able to age in Millis and Medway. Again, same methodology, we counted, we categorized. The top 3 common concerns, number 1, affordability, which is probably unsurprising to many of you, specifically related to the outpacing of property taxes and utilities with respect to people's income in later life. Well, that was number 1. Number 2 was transportation to get where needed. So specifically talking about having, if they're not driving or if they think about not being able to drive, the concern about being able to get where they need to go was number 2. And number 3 was this general notion of being able to maintain independence. So you see in this one quote, somebody says, they're concerned about mobility issues, climbing stairs, walking distances, and that sort of this idea that anything that, they're concerned about being able to live independently and maintain sort of their quality of life from a physical capacity standpoint. One of the key findings was really related, kind of digging deeper into some of the topics here. We asked people about their living arrangements. What I showed here basically is that living alone increases with age, which is something that we know, but it's just important, I think, to think about your own community. So this is the share of respondents who report living alone. And you can see that 23% of people in their 70s and 34% of people 80 plus report living alone, which doesn't necessarily mean anything other than as they age and they have needs, their access to immediate social support is different than it is for people who live with others. When it comes to housing, we asked people about their need for home repairs in order to improve safety of their current home. 41% of respondents said, yes, I need a home repair. And of them, 31% cannot afford to make that repair. So when we think about the housing stock of older adults, there is certainly a segment of the community that needs home repairs but cannot afford to make those repairs. We asked people about, do you have what you need financially to pay for basic expenses? And it was the simple statement, do you agree or disagree with that statement based on your circumstance? 11% of this nearly 2,000 person sample disagreed or strongly disagreed, meaning that they do not believe that they have adequate resources to meet their basic needs. So that's over 200 people who said that they sort of have some financial concern. We asked specifically if they have been, in the past year, worried about their food running out before they got money to buy more. And we saw small shares of this in the whole population, and we looked at it a bunch of different ways. And the one thing that stood out to us is that people who live alone, 10% of them said, yes, this is often true or sometimes true, that I worry about getting food before I have money to buy more, compared to just 5% of people who live with others. So just this talking about the intersection of living alone and the things that it comes with it, food security in this case is a little more prevalent in that population. We asked about transportation. I know there's been some great movement on transportation lately for the Millis Council on Aging. I wanted to just mention a couple of things. On this chart, which the thing that stood out to me here is just the, in the area graph, sort of that light blue color, those are people who say, I still drive, but I limit my driving in some way. So I don't drive at night or I don't drive far distances. So sometimes I think when we think about transportation, we're thinking about, people who don't drive and people who do drive, and this sort of brings forth this sort of gray area of people who are driving but are changing their driving behavior in various ways. And so I think, when we look at the people in their 70s, about 19% of respondents were in that category, and that grew to 29% of people 80 plus, and then 18% of people 80 plus not driving at all in these communities. When we asked about whether they had to miss or reschedule a medical appointment in the last year because of this transportation, you can see that it disproportionately affects people who do not drive at all. 18% said, yes, I have had to miss, cancel, or reschedule a medical appointment in the last year because of a lack of transportation. Again, we asked people about their transportation, what kind of difficulties they face. This is comparing people who don't drive at all and those who limit their driving. This is just for the subsample of people who experienced at least one difficulty. And what you see is that the pattern is sort of similar. It has some similarities and differences. So the number one difficulty that people face is that public transportation around their community is unavailable or inconvenient. That was true in both cases. For people who don't drive at all, they also experience the physical limitations or other impairments that make accessing transportation difficult compared to people who are still driving but limiting it in some way, that are concerned about not having information about what's available. And then lastly, in both cases, the top three the third top challenge was a lack of transportation options during evenings and weekends. So transportation was number 2 in terms of the thing that is most concerning to people as they age. We dug a little deeper and uncovered some additional information about that. Something else that stood out to us is we asked people about their own abilities and whether they had an ability, a disability that impaired them from being able to participate in the community. And what we heard, and this is showing you that by age, so for folks in their 60s, 12% said yes, I do have a condition that limits me, compared to 32% of people in their 80s who have that type of condition. Across ages, we asked all of these folks who identified as having a disability, do you have sufficient help to meet your needs? And 12% of them said no. I have one of these kinds of impairments and I do not have sufficient help to meet my needs. I mentioned that mental and behavioral health was something we were sort of paying attention to. We asked people about being affected by substance misuse. So this was not directly just about them. It was, have you or someone you care about in your family been affected by substance misuse? That figure was highest among people in their 60s at 40% of people saying yes. I have been, or someone near to me has been affected by substance misuse. And we asked also about clutter issues. So sometimes we've referred to this as hoarding, but there are all kinds of ways to think about hoarding. But we asked people again, have you or someone you care about have had experience with this? And 23% of respondents said yes, and there was not very much difference by age there. The other thing that was very obvious to us is about caregiving. We asked people, have you provided care or assistance to someone in the last few years? Because of a frailty, basically, and so you can see that half of people in their 60s and more than a third of people in their 70s said yes, I have provided this kind of care, including 29% of people who are 80 plus providing this type of care. We asked them, why are you providing that care? What is the reason? Frailty and mobility are the top issues, chronic disease coming in second, followed by Alzheimer's or other dementia, and also undiagnosed forgetfulness and confusion. So this idea of cognitive impairment, I think sort of represents a type of caregiving that's different than caregiving for somebody who has something like a chronic disease. And so that's something for the COA to think about in terms of their programming and supports. We asked people about the difficulty that this caregiving has played in their lives, and you can see that there were shares of people who reported that their social life has deteriorated, their mental health has deteriorated, etc. We asked them what they would like more of. They would like more informal support from family and friends. They would like homemaking services. They would like financial support or formal in-home support. So people are really looking for tangible help. So that's, I think, an important thing to consider. The last sort of data points I have are just about the Councils on Aging, the Council on Aging. Here we asked about, have you ever been there to the Council on Aging, which is the line graph that you see. 1 in 5 people 60 to 69 have been to their Council on Aging, and that increases with age upwards to 46% of people 80 plus. That's what we would expect. That's a pretty standard sort of age trend. But with people who have participated, we asked them, how often do you go? And there we found 49% of people who've ever been to the Council on Aging only come a few times a year for special events or special occasions. So this is just interesting. I don't think there's anything to, it's not good or bad. It's really sort of an interesting observation about just how differently people relate to the Council on Aging, because you also have 19% of survey respondents who say they come 2 or more times per week. And so there's really a varied relationship with the Council on Aging, which is both interesting and also challenging, I think, sometimes for planning purposes. We asked what limits you going to the Council on Aging, sort of why don't you participate? And we see that the number one reason is people saying, I do not need any of the services offered, followed by I'm not interested in anything that's offered, followed by I'm still working, and 19% of people say I don't know what is offered. We did see a couple of community differences, and we looked at those sort of throughout this analysis and sort of pulling out where things sort of stood out as different to us. And there was some here, which is that 22, so when we asked people about this question, in Medway, 22% of respondents said I don't know what is offered, compared to only 15% of people in Millis who said I don't know what is offered. So when we think about wanting to sort of think about how can Millis think about these results most accurately, I think it's important to recognize that there was a relatively significant difference there. And similar, when people ask, when we ask them, why don't you come more often? In Millis, 17% of COA users said they don't come because the building is not comfortable or inviting, compared to only 2% of those who use the Medway Senior Center who said that. So there was sort of some of these differences here. People want education and they want fitness programs. They want indoor fitness, they want outdoor exercise. So we asked people, what are the kinds of things you would like more of? And this is comparing people who come to the senior center versus never come to the senior center. But the general trend, these were the top top five things people want: indoor and outdoor exercise, performances, lectures, and day trips. When it comes to services, people are really looking more for medical transportation, senior tax work-off. For all people, we did see that current users of the senior center actually would like 31% reported wanting more health clinics. So I heard the public health folks here before. There is an interest in additional health clinics at the senior center.
Maybe we should have had her go downstairs
Yeah.
instead of the Board of Health.
Yeah.
One of the things we know is true about all councils on aging in Massachusetts is that people go to, you don't have to live in the town necessarily to participate at the senior center. So there's sort of a crossover that naturally happens. But we wanted to look a little bit more systematically at that. So we asked people, do you attend other councils on aging outside of your community? And broadly, we heard that about, that there is this kind of cross-reference or cross-use for people who do participate at the senior center. About 43% of them go somewhere else as well. And people who come just once in a while to the Millis and Medway senior centers, about 1 in 5 of them also go somewhere else as well. So what I take from this is that it's not like people aren't going to the Millis and Medway senior centers and only going to other places. It's really the likelihood of them going to other councils on aging increases with their participation at their local senior center. But there is this crossover happening. Of Millis respondents alone, of those who say they go other places, the top places that they go are Medway or Medfield. And for Medway, for those who travel elsewhere, 30% go to Franklin and 20% go to Millis. We asked them, why do you go to other centers? And it is predominantly that the program that they're going to is not offered at their COA, or that they're going there with friends, or because the space is more welcoming, more inviting. And then very lastly, we asked people about how they get information and communication. This is showing you the percent of respondents who said, I do not know who to contact in my community if I was looking for help accessing social services. So this is by age. So these are people who said, no, I don't know who to contact if I need help with something. And so these are pretty significant shares, including 28% of people 80 plus who don't know who to contact if they needed help accessing social services. In a similar vein, we asked people, do you know someone living close by on whom you could rely for help if you needed it? And this is the percentage of people who said, no, I don't. And interestingly, this is actually higher among younger seniors. So people in their 60s, 13% say, no, I don't have someone nearby who I could call on for help. And so, sort of begs the question of, if something happened, who are they going to turn to? And just kind of speaks to people's sort of social networks. And this is the ways that people like getting information. I think this is by age, so the orange and the light blue are, orange is the 80 plus population, the light blue is the 70 plus population. Lots of support for the Council on Aging newsletter, specifically the print version coming in at the top, but also some interest from folks in their 60s for email and text communication, as well as the town website. And so, again, you can see that the print media is number one in terms of preference across ages, but that there is also a lot of use of these sort of internet sources as well. So I'm not going to sort of talk about the conclusions and recommendations. I think many of you have seen this, but we do make a series of sort of both broad and specific ways that Millis and Midway can think about what comes next in terms of opportunities to think about sharing information and coordinating programming calendars, the transportation piece, which I know Anne Marie has been working on, thinking about ways to address the mental and behavioral health conditions that we learned about through this process, and how the towns might work together on that. And then continuing to refresh and reinvigorate the programming at the Council on Aging to continue to entice and engage residents of a variety of backgrounds. And that is what I have. I appreciate your time. I know that was a lot of information. But I'm happy if anyone has any questions or comments.
Thank you.
Anything that I've shared.
Thank you, thank you. That was wonderful. Do either of you have specific questions?
No, it was informative. Do we have a copy of that? That's not in our package?
No.
That is not in
Yeah,
our
if we could
packet.
get that, that would be helpful.
Absolutely.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth Drone. I'm the chairman of the Council on Aging Board. First, I very much want to thank Caitlin for coming to do this. And I just want to kind of loop back to our budget meeting from last Monday, where we talked about the transportation budget. And I think I had mentioned at that meeting, once you see this, you'll understand how important it is to restore that money that was taken away. And so transportation was number 2 on the list after costs. Costs is kind of an abstract, difficult thing to deal with. But everything after I go through this, transportation just jumps out as something that, we have a line of sight on, including the Metro West regional part. It's an area that I think we can really make an improvement and show that we reacted to this survey. But part of the importance of that is making sure that the money that had to be displaced from us last year is returned. So it's really a very important area of focus for us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, go ahead.
So I just want to express my thanks again to everybody who participated and to Caitlin and her team. It was an extraordinary undertaking, and we're really happy we have really good data now that we can move forward with and put into practice. So again, thank you, Caitlin. I'll be in touch about how we continue to work together, and thank you for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think
Just
it's-
FYI to everyone, apparently on cable, on Verizon, there is no sound this evening. I know there's been some ongoing issues. So if anyone wants to, if anyone was trying to watch this and didn't get a chance to watch it on cable, this is live streamed on YouTube. We can send a link out, and I'm hoping the Comcast is working, but I don't know. But I've had 3 different people text me saying they can't hear it on Verizon. So, but it is recorded again, so we can send it out should anybody be asking.
Thank you.
Sorry about that.
I think it's interesting on the report that people may not currently be worried about their transportation or other issues, but that is a fear,
Yes, yeah.
right? Because fear is worse than sort of reality. I think that's interesting. That's all.
Well, and I think, I agree with you, and I think that that sort of people who are changing their driving behavior, that sort of middle group sort of stood out to me, because when I think about that is, those are the people I would be thinking about, how do we support them? We, all groups really,
Right.
but, that's a group that is clearly thinking about it, maybe worrying about it,
Yep.
and actually saying, I'm not gonna go to that thing because I don't feel comfortable driving, or, kind of sort of scaling back, and I think that's interesting.
Right, but not even just to think about something that's tonight, but think about 5 years from now, right? Because, right?
I'm already worrying about
So
it.
am I. Thank you. But so am I, because most of my friends are not driving now at night or in the snow, and I still go 100 miles an hour, but I worry about,
You worry about doing
I
that.
worry about it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right. Well, thank you again, Caitlin.
Thank you.
thank you.
Caitlin, this was wonderful. Thank
Really
you.
good.
And Anne Marie, this was a lot. This was a
Yes.
labor of
Yeah.
love for sure.
Yes,
So
thank you.
thank you.
More to come. Thank you so much. Thanks.
I hear
Okay.
there's some painting going on down there to make it more inviting for the 12% that think it's not as inviting as the brand-new Medway one.
Every day, we are looking to continue to make improvements.
Awesome.
There you go.
Encourage people to come and visit.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
All right. Next, we have some annual contracts to review and approve.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. In the board's packet is a memo from Jim McKay, the Director of Public Works, requesting that the board approve a number of one-year contract extensions for DPW-related services. So with that, I am requesting that the board approve and authorize me to sign the following contract extensions by way of the bid process conducted by the MAPC for the period from March 1st, 2026 to December 31st, 2026. Those being from Seal Coating, Inc., doing business as Indus, for crack seal coating not to exceed $30,000. From K5 Corporation for pavement markings not to exceed $30,000. Through J.H. Lynch and Sons, Inc., for roadway management not to exceed $900,000. From R.J. Gabriel Construction Company, Inc., for catch basin cleaning not to exceed $60,000.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries unanimously.
Great, thank you very much.
Next, we have the appointing of a new town auditing firm.
Yes,
She was here.
Jody was
Yeah.
here, then left. I don't know if she's
so,
gone.
so I will touch upon this briefly. I know we have had CBIZ auditing as our audit firm for probably over a dozen years. Recently, their pricing has gone up significantly. So with that, here's the the finance director.
I just texted you.
So with that, we did endeavor to seek some quotes from various auditing firms. There are a limited pool of auditing firms in the municipal market in Massachusetts. And we did seek the bids out from the big players in the market. And our finance director did a lot of the legwork on that, so I will turn that over to her.
Sure, thank you. Yes, as Mike mentioned, we had an opportunity to review our auditing services, as prudent to do every couple of years with contracts over 2 years. So we hadn't gone to bid for quite a while. The auditing firm that we currently had changed hands a couple of different times, and we're sort of working through that transition. So we took the opportunity to go out to the market and get some quotes from auditors that provide that service. And in reviewing everything that we got back, I made a formal recommendation to the board that we appoint Roselli and Clark CPAs as our auditing firm for the next 3 years. They were the most favorable in terms of cost and delivery timing. So that's what I would like to do if you are all in favor.
Can we confirm the cost on that?
Yeah.
Is that the school audit as well as a municipal?
Yes.
Because I see there's a 200,000 over 3 years listed in the packet, but this is for 400,000 for 3 years. Is that the,
What are you looking at?
You
Just
looking
so
at
that
in
I
the
know.
packet.
I've got page 5 of the bid cost proposal, and maybe I'm reading it wrong.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, these costs for the audit portion, column 1, is pretty much what I'm paying. So, yeah, I've got some experience, same size, typical situation. But is it 400,000 for 3 years, 401,000? Is that the correct amount?
No.
Because I'm seeing on page 5, it says 200,750.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It seems like that's almost doubled, actually.
Good catch.
Can I see the page 5 that you're looking at?
Yes.
It's the cost proposal.
Yeah, page 5, right here,
Yeah.
cost proposal.
Okay.
I think I
Yeah,
have it
because
wrong
it looks
here.
like what's in the package for the motion is double what, I mean, exactly
It is,
double.
I
Oh,
think
yeah,
that's,
that's-
ignore that, that's my math.
It's exactly double.
Yikers.
Sorry about that.
I'm good at finding things that
That's
are
a
exactly
typo.
double.
I'm like, sorry,
Do it
typo,
twice.
that's it.
That's a
No,
typo
this
in
is
the motion.
correct.
6 years.
Yeah.
It's
No,
this one here.
You should go by the document.
Yeah, sorry about
In
that.
your packet.
So
The-
I just want proof that I
200,000,
read the packet now.
200,750.
Yeah, I had no
That's me.
issue with the $200,750.
Yeah, I
It
missed
was
that.
the $401,500 I didn't understand. But that's just twice, okay?
Job.
Yeah,
Yeah,
twice.
all right.
Twice.
So we just cut the price in half.
Well, look at that.
Affordable now.
Saving money
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yes,
Hurry up
thank
before
you.
they change their mind.
I move that the board appoint the firm of Roselli Clark and Associates of Woburn for Mass for the municipal audit services for the fiscal year 2025 through 2027 for the town of Millis for a total not to exceed $200,750.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries unanimously.
Right?
And
Thank you.
just how many firms are there in the municipal circuit that you?
There's a
Solicit-
very small
It
amount.
seems like
Yeah,
it,
it's a
yeah.
very small amount, and I think that these services are very hard to come by as
Yeah.
well across the Commonwealth. One of the benefits that I sort of, worked with this particular firm for was just confirming sort of the buttoned-up state of our affairs over here.
Yeah.
We have really good processes in place. Our financial statements are pretty secure in terms of our methodologies and cost accounting, et cetera. And they were happy to take us on as a client. That's a little bit hard to come by, so I was really pleased that, again, because we were a favorable client, prospective client, it was great to be able to have them. We did receive multiple bids, and like I said before, they were the most favorable in terms of cost as well as timeliness of delivery.
Perfect.
And several of our area towns use them as well, Medway and a
Yep.
few other
Yeah.
towns around
Yep.
here.
So do you get a list that's approved by the state?
No, they just have to be certified
Oh.
to be able to conduct these types of audits, within the government accounting standard.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, next we are voting to rescind the sewer allotment at 1280 Main Street. So it turns out that the folks for 1280 Main Street are not moving forward with the proposed housing development. So at this time, we would be voting to rescind the sewer extension permit that we had voted on in July.
All right, I move the board vote to rescind approval of the sewer extension permit for 1280 Main Street voted on July 9th, 2025 at the select board meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Next, liaison updates. Anything?
Yeah, I attended
nothing.
capital planning,
Okay.
and we discussed how we're going to do capital planning. It was lovely. It was a nice meeting.
Okay,
We're gearing up for it. We should have like 3 or 4 more, and then we'll have the recommendation together.
beautiful.
I went to the Charles River Pollution Control meeting, but it was zero. I mean, nothing happened. I went in and it was 10 minutes later I left, so.
Okay.
Well,
Another
tell
one
them we
this-
rescinded our permit.
There's another one next week.
Well, thanks for going to those.
Yeah,
Okay, is that it?
that's all I got.
That's it? Okay. Next, we have water and sewer commitments.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm requesting that the board approve the quarterly bill run water sewer commitment for February 2026 in the amount of $889,963.53.
So moved?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. And Madam Chair, I'm requesting that the board approve the water sewer commitment for November 2025 in the amount of $1,875.14.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. And then we do
skipping
not
the
have
minutes.
draft minutes
Yes.
today.
All right.
All
I
right.
move the board enter into executive session to discuss strategies in preparation for the contract negotiations with Union AFS CME, Council 93, and only return to open session for the purpose of adjourning the meeting.
Do we do a second?
Okay, I'll poll the board. Ellen?
Yes.
Craig?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Thank you, everybody, and thank you, Millis Community Media, and have a great night.
Thank you.